Well. You know this is going to get tiring and tiring and tiring and tiring and tiring and tiring each and every day. Because every time we hear good things about Jalen Reagor having a solid training camp, these reports are going to come up as annoying it's going to be. This is going to be beating a dead horse to death, okay? This is what's going to happen. And, you have to look at this and say that it could be a possibility. We talked about the possibilities of what could happen to Jalen Reagor. Talked about a release. We talked about a trade, and we've talked about him making the roster, being a gadget wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, but not really being, the number 4 receiver at this point. If depending on other things that happen with this receiver core. But there has been news from Mosher about the trade and the rumors that are just swirling around nonstop that there are teams inquiring about Reagor. And I think, like I said, the possibility of kind of the same thing they did with Zach Ertz, of building his value up during training camp to preseason. But the only difference is, Zach Ertz played some games and got traded. In this instance, if the Eagles' plan right now is to trade Jalen Reagor, it's not going to happen during the season. It's going to happen before the season starts. Whether it's during training camp, whether it's during preseason, whatever the case may be. Now, if the preseason game shows up, I think it's August 12th. I think the first preseason game for the Eagles. I think it's 7:30 against the Jets. Okay, if Reagor doesn't even play in that game, then I could probably say that he's going to get traded. Because of what he is as a first round pick, and they would have to play him. I mean, if preseason comes along and he's going to be on this roster, I'm playing him. Okay, I'm putting him in some preseason games. I want to see what he's got. Okay, if they don't put him in a preseason game, if he's not traded before then or by then, and he doesn't show up, he's cut down from that game and he's sitting out the whole entire game, I could see a trade actually happening. What teams? I don't know. I've talked about certain teams that maybe, the Bears could be interested. The Ravens could get back in conversation with the Eagles. I know Rashad Bateman's the main guy over there, but, obviously no Hollywood Brown, you know what I mean? So there's a lot going on with this. And like I said, this is going to be as annoying as the media coming up with, what the Eagles are going to do at quarterback, beginning of the offseason last year. If we were going to, trade for a veteran quarterback or go after one in the draft, that's how annoying this is probably going to be. But I think we're going to get the news soon. Good things are talked about with Jalen Reagor when it comes to Nick Sirianni and him being more consistent at practice. I mean, beat Bradbury one-on-one yesterday. And then, there's just too much going on. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. From what I've seen what the Eagles have done, okay, you trade for A.J. Brown, you have Zach Pascal, you put J.J. at tight end. You give J.J. not to justify the pick at tight end, but they put him in a losing situation. They put him in a lose-lose situation to be a tight end in front of a lot better competition, okay? I think they put Reagor in a lose-lose situation. Plus, you got they're not even putting him. I mean, you got Britton Covey. You have other guys that are starting to stand out now on special teams, and I think there are better players special teams. It's not that I don't. I figured when we got Jalen Reagor, he would have a special teams pedigree, which he did come with. There are some guys that are high picks that don't pan out to be a starting skill set position, but are good on special teams. But is it enough for Jalen Reagor to be here just for special teams? No. We heard beginning of this offseason about Reagor rumored to wanting a fresh start, that there was a mutual thing between the Eagles and Jalen Reagor on a fresh start on both sides with this player. And, it could happen. I don't know I don't have the answers. I'm just speculating. I don't know. I'm giving us options in this video. I'm giving us options. I've given us options of what they could do with Reagor, what the case may be. Now, I think the thing that's probably not going to happen is they're going to flat out release him. I think there is interest. And what I kind of want to find out, if there is interest and a trade is brewing, what's the draft compensation going to be like? I felt like the Eagles and Ravens during the draft had something going, but the Eagles wanted too much for Reagor. I feel like the Eagles are going to be squeezing so many teams for a higher draft pick. And, you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect them to get a third or fourth round pick out of this. I don't. Sixth, a seventh, maybe, but is a fifth asking for too much? Even if he's playing really well in training camp, his cap hit is very low. A team could definitely trade for him. So maybe the Eagles are going to try to push for a mid-round pick if they can. But at this point, you know what? A day 3 pick is fine for me. If you want a 6th or 7th, I'm totally fine with that. Because Howie definitely uses those picks, definitely use some of those picks to move up. Those day 3 picks are very important to move up in the draft. They did with Jordan Davis, giving up 4 picks just to move up 2 spots. So I think those picks are valuable. I think any pick is valuable regardless to Howie Roseman. God knows I wouldn't mind having more picks on top of having 2 firsts and a second. And the big question mark about this quarterback and Jalen Hurts going into this year. So if you want to talk about draft compensation, I expect the Eagles to try to push for something a little higher, but they need to be realistic, okay? And be realistic with themselves that I don't think they're going to get anything, don't try to squeeze teams because teams are going to not be interested. If that's the plan, if they want to trade him, they got to be fair about what, teams aren't giving up. I wouldn't give up a high draft pick. I wouldn't give up a 3rd round pick for Jalen Reagor. I would never do it regardless. So, it's easy to say us trading, Howie will try to get a bigger pick. But if you're that team trading for Reagor, would you trade him for a 3rd or a 4th round? I don't know. The 5th is kind of pushing it, but maybe a 6th or 7th would be more fair. But I don't know. But every day this is going to be going on and going on and going on. It's going to happen. I'm going to be making videos on this every step of the way when there's any bit of speculated news. You know what I mean? So if Mosher's got news, whatever his sources are, and I don't think this is surprising because, not even during the first week of training camp or even before the first day of training camp, there were rumors about the Eagles were shopping Jalen Reagor and still shopping him. And there have been teams looking at him as of right now. There are teams making phone calls, and maybe a scout comes from that team to the practice and we don't know about it, and they're just looking at Reagor and seeing what he's doing and how healthy he looks. And Reagor came into really good shape. He came into the Eagles this year, training camp, really good shape, and he's been balling out every single day. Every single day. I know there are fans out there that want Reagor to have a resurgence year, and they want him to have that Nelson Aguilar 3rd year, 700 to 800 yards. It's not going to happen this year. I don't think he touches the field. I think a trade could happen. And that's not because of this news. I've been feeling this since before training camp, that a move can be made. And really since the A.J. Brown trade, I kind of thought the same thing about Reagor and how they moved J.J. to tight end. They're not justifying picks here. It's showing me that Howie Roseman he's not going to say that he made a mistake, but he's going to quietly do what he's supposed to do as a GM to fix his mistake. But like I said, he's never going to tell us, I made a mistake. It's never going to happen. He's going to do it in silence. He's going to do it by making trades. And then we'll start to figure out Howie Roseman is trying to do the right thing here on some screwed up picks that might not even been his fault. Who knows at this point? From the rumors of Jeffrey Lurie backing off, taking a step back since the Sirianni hiring, who knows? I want to know from you guys, do you think he's going to be traded? Do you think if he doesn't play a preseason game, do you think it's going to show us that a trade is in the works and teams are still calling the Eagles and checking in? So teams that have had past interest are checking in to check on Jalen Reagor. So that's all I got to say, guys. Hope you guys can't talk today. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD, follow us live. Peace out, guys. Peace.